Collecting back all the news of the last week, and I'm figuring out that this week we had CPI and PPI, and actually they were shoved all the way back in the bus. No one cared about them. We had a week with so much news, yet CPI and PPI, which usually would have opened these weekly summaries, are somewhere to be noticed. So let's dive in, let's summarize the week. And hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Micha, and on this channel we mainly summarize the week, but I do want to tell you that I uploaded a new AI generated video which summarizes the history of the stock market. It's 5.5 minutes of AI video, which never happened before. Don't miss it. It has subtitles and everything. Don't miss it. If you're new, I would be more than happy if you can subscribe to the channel, and of course turn notifications on. Let's dive into the week from the major averages. This is how they ended the week. The S&P with a 9th all-time high. Nasdaq as well. I think it's even more than 9 all-time highs during this year. Nasdaq up 1.2% for the week, and the S&P up more than 0.5%. Russell up only 0.28. Dow on the week. Well, RSP's down 13 hundredths of a percent. The great, as you can see, Meta is the only one that is negative for the week, while Apple is waiting for something to happen. You can feel it that it's on the verge of something happening. Amazon 0.5% with Bezos selling a lot of shares this week. Tesla leading the pack with 5%, and Tesla has results next week. It's going to be very interesting. Indices themselves, as you can see, energy down, healthcare down, and materials down. All the rest positive for the week, with technology and utilities leading the pack, 1.9 and 1.5%. This was the crypto week, with Trump signing the Genius Act, with Ethereum running 18% with an amazing short squeeze. After everyone was short on Ethereum, came the perfect bottom, and now they're covering their shorts up 18% for the week. And from, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say middle of April, Ethereum doubled itself in price. That's how it happens when everyone is on one side of the boat. Bitcoin down 1.8 for the week. Commodities, natural gas up 6.5%. All the rest, not something too dramatic. And we are at extreme greed and CNN fear and greed. This usually is the time where the market starts saying, okay, maybe we should take some chips off the table. Seasonally wise, we're going into the last 2 weeks of July, which usually are kind of iffy. So we'll talk about next week in a second. But this happened during Friday. Friday, an hour after the close, Block is going to join the S&P 500 instead of Hess, after a court cleared the merger between Chevron and Hess. This, of course, came in as a surprise. Barons this morning, or Friday morning, actually said that probably Robinhood or AppLovin are going to join the S&P 500, and Block come from right wing. No one even thought of Block. Everyone was really, really surprised. It would be very interesting to see how it opens on Monday, with a 10% gain already Friday after the close, after this press release was, of course, released, which means that in the last month we got 2 new companies in the S&P 500, the Trade Desk and Block, both replacing existing companies that have been acquired, which means that the S&P 500 hasn't really kicked out anyone while putting someone else in. This is the only hope I can provide Robinhood and AppLovin investors. Trump signs the Genius Act. Genius Act provides the framework for stablecoins and crypto in the US. Also hints that he wants to open up the 401ks to invest in crypto. This, of course, will and already does lead a lot of institutions to start looking at stablecoins as part of their treasury. This, of course, creates tailwind for all the crypto market. Does that mean that it goes up tomorrow morning? No, it doesn't, but it does mean that that the government, U.S. government, is not going anymore against crypto. And whether the capital gains would be changed or not, that's something that probably will still be talked about, but we will see. So that's the Genius Act on Friday. CPI, yes, we will mention CPI, came in lower As you can see, we're in a downward trend, but numbers aren't sufficient enough to reduce rates. Tariffs haven't been closed. All of these haven't been finalized. Sorry, all of these together are not creating the framework for the Fed to lower rates. And that, of course, brings Trump to call Powell too late Powell. During the week, Trump was asked, are you going to fire Trump? After he himself talked to several legislators asking them, what do you think about firing Powell, sorry. He, of course, said, no, I'm not going to fire him. There's due process, blah, blah. While in the background, he's sending his soldiers to try to hurt the Fed's way of thinking. And, of course, we'll see later what it creates. So that's CPI and that's the Fed. China, US provides with Nvidia the ability to go on and sell H20 back to China. You remember a few months ago, they were not allowed. Same for AMD. We'll see that in a second. Charles Schwab on Friday says that they're planning to launch a Bitcoin and Ether spot trading as well on their platforms. As I told you before, once the government says it's okay, no one can stop it. Talking long-term, of course, and not short-term. This is AMD. We talked about it earlier. And this is part of Trump's push for the Fed. Governor Christopher Waller comes out Thursday and says he has a case for cutting rates now. Why is it strange? Not because it's his opinion. He's more than welcome to have his opinion. The timing is very, very strange. Saying that Thursday when Friday starts the blackout, so they can't speak up until the Fed decision in 10 days. I would say it's a bit strange, but that's part of everyone wants to be the next Fed chair, and probably Waller wants as well. Meta keeps signing more and more, stealing more and more AI talent. I think they have so much talent there that they need to start producing, and if they won't be able to produce something, no one will. 9 times all-time high. This is not strange. It happened in the past. We're not in unique times. It happened in the past. All-time highs usually create all-time highs, Is it easier to buy when we're at extreme greed? For sure. When we were at extreme fear, everyone didn't want to buy because the sky was falling. But still, it's not strange. Apple is going against a YouTuber called John Prosser. They're accusing him from trading secrets and violating Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Is that something Apple needs to deal with instead of getting AI on their platform? Everyone has their own opinion. Perplexity, 2 months ago, was evaluated by 14 billion. Now they're evaluating by 18 billion. They needed to raise money. That's why we know their current evaluation. Everyone is right now running to get the best LLM out there, the best GPT out there. And Perplexity has a very good product out there. Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern are in talks to merge, basically Union Pacific to acquire Norfolk. Netflix is admitting to using generative AI to create scenes of sci-fi on their series Eternaut. That's amazing that generative AI, just like you will see on the history of the stock market, is part of that. Trump opens 401k market for crypto, gold, and private equity. This is dramatic because it opens the asset class that were closed up until now to 401k, but it also possesses risk of people going overboard, things that are too risky. GitLab launches an AI agent on their platform. OpenAI launches an AI agent on their platform. Tesla and Waymo keep expanding their geofencing. Black is Tesla, blue is Waymo in Austin. A lot of jokes around the shape of Tesla's geofencing, as you can see, and you can probably understand the jokes. And I'm not even talking about Coldplay performance, where there are also a lot of jokes related to people that are going there and are being caught on camera. Apple is investing $500 million in MP materials. Tesla is launching their sales in India with a Model Y priced at around $70,000. Roblox has a new licensing platform with Lionsgate, Netflix, Sega, Kodasha, and others. Google's Maps is working with Rivian to create their own version of, let's call it Google Maps or something for their cars. Uber is teaming up with Baidu to provide robotaxi in Asia and Middle East. Rigetti is hitting a milestone on their quantum computing progress. Coca-Cola is going to start using real canes of sugar instead of processed sugar. OpenAI is starting to use Google infrastructure in addition to Microsoft infrastructure. And Jensen at China providing a lot of good feedback to the Chinese on their progress, but also saying that humanoid robots are here and they're now, and everyone needs to get ready for them. WeRide is using their humanoid robot, but it's on wheels to take visitors in Singapore from one resort to the other. And last but not least, Lucid finally gets $300 million for someone else than the Saudis, which is Uber this time. 20,000 cars of Lucid will be produced in order to create robo-taxis with Uber. That brings us directly to next week and the earnings. Finally, we are at earnings season. Monday, we're going to get Verizon, Domino's Pizza, and NXPI, Steel Dynamics. Tuesday becomes a lot more interesting with Lockheed Martin, Coca-Cola, Philip Morris, D.R. Horton, GM, Raytown, Danaher, and more. After the bell, we're getting Intuitive Surgical, SAP, Enphase, Capital One, Texas Instrument. Wednesday, a big Wednesday, GE Vernova, Freeport McMoran, AT&T, Thermo Fisher, and of course, after the bell, Tesla, Alphabet, ServiceNow, IBM, Chipotle, QuantumScape, Alaska, and more. Thursday, American Airlines, Nokia, Dow, Southwest, and also, after the bell, Intel, Newmont, Deckers, and others. Friday, companies that are less known, let's call it mentioned on the channel, but Charter being the bigger one of them. Macro, we don't have anything special except Powell speaking on Tuesday. It's a regular speech. It's not something specific that you should be aware of, but you never know what he's going to say. And that, of course, brings us to the S&P 500 chart on a daily scale with Japanese candlesticks on it. And as you can see, we still have the gaps opened up on the S&P 500. We are relatively stretched from the 50-day moving average. A correction is due, whether it's going to be this week, next week, it doesn't really matter. We're going into this relatively weak seasonality 2 weeks for the end of the month. We might see a pullback, we might see a correction to around 61.47. Just be aware of that. Does that mean crash? No, it doesn't mean anything. We haven't had any kind of constructive correction in the last few weeks. Everything is on the table. I would say 61.47. I would be more than happy that the market would test it and the 50-day moving average, come and meet it there, and then we'll get another leg to the rally. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. It might go up. But I would be prepared for some kind of correction. Hope you enjoyed the weekly summary. Now, I urge you, if you haven't seen it before, click the history of the stock market.
You're about to witness time travel.
This is the first 5.5 minutes video that I've produced in generative AI and AI. There's going to be more, but you got to start somewhere. Till next time, don't forget to smash that like button and, of course, share this video with as many people as you can so more and more people will be able to enjoy the news. Till next time, Micha Stocks saying bye-bye.